This Mark Redmond.
And we are
The
Redmonds. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Redmonds. What episode are we on?
We are on Working Hard.
Which number though?
14, 15, I don't know.
When you're having a good time, you lose track. We are so excited to be with you. We were doing a little bit of a series where we talked about praising hard, playing hard, and now we're talking about working hard. Why work hard?
Well, not in the literal sense of working hard, but just working our professions or your profession and people knowing that you serve.
So how we glorify God through our work.
Exactly.
Okay. So some of that, I think, is related to work ethic, though.
Yeah.
Where did you get your first sense of work ethic? Where did that come from?
Working around the house. My daddy.
Your daddy.
My father.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Daddy.
Dad.
Just him. I wouldn't say it was work. It was mandated work that we had to do, and he felt sometimes he would compensate me. One particular time, he had me paint the entire trim of our house and gave me $50.
Do you feel you were underpaid?
At that time?
At that time?
Well, I couldn't argue with him. I didn't have a choice. I had to do it because he told me to. He didn't have to pay me. He gave me $50. But now, yes, he worked me to no end. But, that's a different era. Parents told you to do something. You did
were doing it.
Right.
Chores were probably both of our first introduction to a work ethic.
Yeah, but we didn't get allowances. Did you get an allowance?
No.
No.
Not consistently.
No.
It's not that, I don't even know that they desired to give an allowance. Shelter, food,
clothing,
all of that.
I mean, if you asked for $10 to go to the show or something like that, and you did your chores for the week, and maybe you did a little something extra around the house, they would give you that. But no, there wasn't no Cosby Show type weekly allowance that you got, and no.
Can you say we like the Cosby Show these days? Is that still
what?
Can we say Cosby Show?
Why not? I'm just talking about the show in general.
The show in general?
Not any of the characters or people that portrayed people on the show. I'm just thinking of the morals and ethics that they had on the Cosby Show. They had allowances. Theo and Denise and we didn't. Sandra was grown.
Her biggest allowance was her tuition.
Right, so we did not have allowances. And some of you all out there, you didn't have allowances either.
But what I did learn how to do is save. That's a whole other thing. Save some money.
Yeah.
When we got money, whether it was for lunch, you didn't spend everything that you had. So whether it was lunch, whether it was, you're getting tickets to go to this, that, or the other, whatever they gave you, you learned how to be good stewards of and save some back for the next time.
Oh, yeah.
So you learned your work ethic. You said that one example of painting the house.
Mm-hmm.
When did you get your first job?
Job like outside of
the family.
Oh boy, I would have to probably say UPS. Working in the winters, coming home from school and working in the summer. Yeah, that was probably my first full-fledged job. No. Let me go back even further. Going to the service was my first full-time job.
Which was at what age? When did you go? Right out of high school?
Right out of high school. I was 17, so I hadn't made 18 by the time I went to basic training. So when I went to basic training, I was 17. I was a young fella. And that was the first time I actually had a paycheck, but being the diligent son, my mom said, well, send your money home, and and all those things I think about now, I'm like, maybe I would have done things a little differently, But yeah, my mom, we got paid in the service. I sent my money home.
Okay.
And it was all in preparation for me going to school. So by the time I got out of the reserves and came home and enrolled in school, I had a nice little piece of pocket change. Mm-hmm. And even that was regulated by Betty and Eugene. So
while you're on your way to the service, I am about 30 miles to the east of you in Gary, Indiana, growing up. And my first job was actually cleaning up the highway. Mm-hmm. Sort of, they relegate that probably now to people who have been incarcerated. But there was a youth program.
You got in trouble. That's why you had to clean the expressway.
No.
Yeah. What was that called? I forgot what it's called.
No.
Yeah, people who didn't pay their tickets or whatever, DUIs or whatever they did, they had to clean up the express. That was you.
No.
I think I saw you.
You think you saw me?
Mm-hmm.
And so now what does that say about us as a couple? No, that wasn't me. But there were a portion of jobs set aside for teenagers during the summer. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the first jobs that I had. My parents opened up a janitorial service. So I learned how to do everything from supervise to clean toilets, latrines, to make sure that those were prepped for medical facilities. Did a lot of things before I graduated high school. So I've been working a long time. Did I tell you I had a radio show?
In high school?
Yeah, maybe between high school and freshman year.
What was it about?
It was a gospel radio show in the afternoon. I had the afternoon drive.
What was it called?
Into the Night with Bev Smith.
You did like the Quiet Storm?
I did the Quiet Storm of Gospel. Yeah, I did. WWCA in Gary. I think it was 1270 AM were the call letters and numbers. Yep, on the dial.
Okay. Well, that kind of prepared you for your career path. So it's not like you strayed away. I did several things. I worked at UPS for a while. Me and a couple of my guys, actually Kevin and Larry, worked at UPS.
Did you drive?
What? Did you? No, I was in the plant moving boxes.
To drive one of the brown trucks.
You had to work your way up to driving the brown trucks. Mm-hmm. So you had to put your time in, loading and unloading before you get to the actual driving. So my buddy Kevin, my buddy Larry, we worked at UPS.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think all of that shaped your attitude toward work as you became an adult and then kids come along?
Well, I had no problem shying away from work. Mm-hmm. Working hard was something that it was just natural for me. I saw my daddy work hard. I saw my mom work hard. So it was second nature. Mm-hmm. You weren't going to live in Betty and Eugene's house and not work. You're going to work and go to school. So it was just natural.
So for us with 5 kids in the house, one of the ways that I figured out that I could have something of my own was to have my own job. Mm-hmm. So whatever I could do to bring some additional income in, and then also have a little bit of something for myself. I learned quickly the job.
Yeah, we grew up in an era where we paid for our first cars. All of that stuff came out of our pocket.
Before that, I was on the bus, the city bus.
The Red Line, the Soul Train. If you're from Chicago, you know about the Red Line.
The South Shore that came over to Chicago. All of those things, when we didn't have our own transportation, we were out there and we weren't going to be late because that was a reflection on our parents. That was a reflection on our performance. And if there was a need to work over, learn how to do that too. If I wanted extra, if I wanted to get
overtime. No, you weren't going to be late because that was entrenched in your moral psyche, and your parents were going to make sure you weren't going to be late. So you were not going to be late. Funny story, I never forget this. I'm working at UPS, so I'm getting a little piece of money. I think maybe $300 a week. I thought that was big time.
It was.
So my father had a '77 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, white
Nice.
It was nice. Nice. So he bought that from my cousin, and he let me drive it on the condition that I would have to pay my own gas, and I would give him some money every Friday as tribute for using his car. So boom, I had no problem. I come in, the first thing I had to give him $50.
Mm-hmm.
In
And
his
what
hand.
else? $50.
And a gyro sandwich. Or Chinese food, one of the two.
One of the two.
If I walked through that door Friday without it, I was going to get the business. So one day, I went and got some gym shoes, tennis shoes, sneakers, however you all call it in your region of the country. In Chicago, we call it gym shoes.
Kicks.
So I bought some gym shoes. Mm-hmm. And then the next week, I bought another pair of gym shoes. So my father looks at me, he was like, "You buy another pair of gym shoes?" I was like, "Yeah." And this is the most gangster thing that my father has ever done to me. He said, "You know what? You got to take one of those pair of shoes back."
Why?
Because it was frivolous spending.
Too much. Okay.
At the time, right? At the time, I'm not thinking of the life lesson he taught me. You don't need to get 2 new pairs of gym shoes right back to back. So I took them back. And
how old were you?
I'm 18.
Making your own money, had been to the service, but as soon as you got home.
18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I think about it, that was straight up wrong. Daddy, if you listen to me up in heaven, that was gangster. That was real gangster. And me, like a little, trying to be a good son, I took him back.
There was a lesson in it.
Yeah, it was a lesson in it, but that was kind of harsh. That was real harsh.
I think he didn't want you to blow through your money.
Yeah, that's exactly the lesson he was trying to
teach you not to blow through it, even if you needed another pair of shoes.
I didn't need it. I just wanted a pair to get them.
See, your dad was right.
Absolutely.
There you go. So, how does it connect to faith, though? Where does work ethic and our working hard connect into how we exhibit faith?
Well, I guess there's so many stories and parables in the Bible that talk about working hard. I don't know the scripture, and probably you can enlighten us on, if you don't work,
you don't eat.
You don't eat.
I want to say it's in 2 Thessalonians.
Mm-hmm.
I won't. You know how we do.
And we'll put it up. We'll put it up
at the bottom of the screen.
We'll put it up at the bottom of the screen.
But it was the idea of not putting in your effort, not getting that reward back out of it. Mm-hmm. And I think more so than just the literal scripture, that's something that came across, at least in my church life, that we worked hard, whether we were giving our service to the church. Mm-hmm. At that point, you always performed excellently, not just with your brawn. You performed well whenever given the opportunity. And you went the extra mile for people. I can't tell you how many times we picked up folks for church, dropped them off, made sure that they had food. Also, if someone needed anything, you were there to help meet that kind of need. So really, church was the first education ground about work and also service.
Well, I didn't even mention that. My home church, Emmanuel Baptist Church, 8301 South Damon Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to my Emmanuel family. They practiced child labor with us. They did. We retiled the gym. Mm-hmm. We took out all the pews out the sanctuary and moved them and put in new pews. Mm-hmm. We cleaned the basement of the church. I mean, we did it all. And you know what we got? Pop and oranges.
And you were happy.
And we were happy.
Very
because
happy. Yes.
Also our reward was getting a chance to play ball in the gym.
Mm-hmm. That you were kind of making room for what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. So all those things, like you said, church was a very important part in teaching us work ethic. Mm-hmm. Early on, that was very important that I just want to piggyback off of. You said that our parents, we didn't want to embarrass our parents.
No.
with working and not doing a good job, that goes back to our parents when they saw that we had good work ethics and good morals and things of that nature. They went out of their way to kind of set us up for success. My very first teaching job after I graduated college was with a former assistant principal of mine, Mr. Gaston. And my mom's school, Earl, was right down the street from my high school in Bloom. So anytime I got in trouble, Mr. Gaston would call down to Earl's school, can I speak to Mrs. Redmond? And then I get in all kinds of trouble. But when I graduated college, my mom picked up the phone and called Mr. Gaston. And this was on a Friday. And this is how faith works, even in your work life. I talked to Mr. Gaston that Friday afternoon. He said, Redmond, come to Fulton Monday morning, 8 o'clock, I'll find something for you. So I'm like, cool. I go there, Mr. Gaston, and this is before local school councils and the bureaucracy and the politics of running a school. This is back in the day when the principals wielded a whole lot of power.
They had schools had local control. Yeah.
Right. So I get to Fulton.
Or more local control.
Right.
Yeah.
I get to Fulton. Mr. Gaston says, okay, I'm going to put you in this 4th grade class. And I stayed in that class for the whole year. I think the secretary sent down my information to HR. I don't remember filling out anything.
Doing an interview, anything.
I didn't do anything.
So what I just heard and what you were saying is, one, your family had a good name, that your former principal knew of your parents, knew of your ethic, and that as soon as an opportunity came about, he made and opened the door.
And you know what? That resonates even today. And I know a lot of young people want to go out and forge their own way. Listen, if your parents got connects, use them.
If you have connections
anywhere, use
them. Other people are doing that. I know everyone, or some people like to say, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You didn't make the bootstraps. Someone else did. So go out there, use your network, intern where you can. Sometimes it may mean working for free. I know that sounds like a no-no word these days because everybody looks like they're getting paid. Everybody's not. You have to start somewhere to let your resume begin. You have to really work.
And
put your time in, put your effort in, and it will glow.
And I think that's one of the things that we try to do, not just with our podcast, but also with our books. We are going to make sure that every I is dotted, every T is crossed. We're going to make sure that we give you the best possible product that we can. We are not going to slack off at all. That's why we do the t-shirts, and we make sure that I set it this way and it looks this way. And speaking of t-shirts, we're back with the Redmond t-shirts. Yes. Now it wasn't last week. They haven't seen the episodes with the construction orange. They're coming, baby. They're hot to death.
They're there.
But we went back. We did something a little simple. We got the Heather Gray with the Meet the Redmond. So we're bringing the t-shirts back. And that's part of our excellence in our work. We're going to give you top notch.
Well, we both work in education, and that still is the order of the day. But there are many people of like faith or faith-minded that work on our jobs, and they find each other. We find each other. Integrity counts. Again, your character. Integrity is part of character, your work ethic, all of that really does set you apart, and people begin to see that there's something different about you. Now let's talk about when you do get the opportunity to insert your faith.
Okay.
You
had some issues where you had to there was somebody on your job and they were going through a difficult time, and you saw that they were going through a difficult time, and you bought a flower. You said, "Well, I'm gonna pray for you," or "Can I pray for you?" And that person was receptive. So those kind of are times where people can see, okay, Beverly is of a different ilk.
Different standard. And it wasn't big, it wasn't loud. I did not come in and if you do this, this is on you. That's your preference. I didn't come in with blessed oil. I didn't come in being anointing and laying hands and being what I would say dramatic in a workspace. I used some wisdom and said, hey, a quiet effort. I didn't know where this person stood, but just to say, I'm praying for you. And when the tears began to fall, and I had an opportunity, said, would you like me to pray for you now? And she said, yes. I could close the door, do just a few minutes of something, and then leave that person. And that just made an impression. Did not go into anything deep. So that's just one way.
And speaking of your profession, tell our family out there what are some of the things that you've done over the past years that kind of sets you apart, that makes you one of the coldest PR people on the planet.
My husband is biased, and I love him for it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Some of the things that make me the coldest PR person on the planet.
First time I saw Beverly on TV, I lost it. I'm like, that's my wife on TV.
Part of what I do, and this does come from church. If any of you have been up and given oratory or given Easter speeches, this skill started for me a long, long time ago. Public speaking began in church, but it is directly related to my job. I am a spokesperson for the districts that I have represented over the years, and being able to step out in front of a camera or to write a speech or to give words to someone else in a press release, that's part of what I do. I've also emceed, worked programs for educational conferences in front of hundreds, thousands of people.
And we're going to take a couple of minutes to see some of Beverly's work. So you'll see exactly what she's talking about. I still think she's one of the coldest PR people around. So take a look at this and we'll be right back.
Thank you. And now we will bring to the mic Sister Beverly Redmond.
Happy Black History Month. Hello, everybody. Hello. One more time. Hello, everybody. Hello. All right. Hey, all right. To my sisters, my brothers, my sorors, my frats, my D9 sister and brother Greeks, my aunties, my uncles, my cousins, our friends, our allies, our kings, our queens. Welcome to Black History Month. It is an amazing time. And when I say amazing, that doesn't mean it's always all good, but we make it good. We've done it throughout our history. We make it good. We've heard about Ubuntu. And for me, that means that I'm not okay if you're not okay. I'll say it again, and you all look at each other. I'm not okay if you're not okay. We've had some not so okay moments. But we're coming into a new space, a different space that we haven't been in before. And I want you to say that that's okay. We've got lots of work to do. We've seen some pain in the last few days. My heart's heavy. Your heart may be heavy too. But we must take the time, and I'm giving my sister who has a camera over here some credit, Sister Scribner, for saying, yep, T. Scribs, you choose joy. It is a conscious choice, and today we choose to celebrate what we know and what we live 365. To be Black, as was said, is not to hate anybody else. It's to love us. And that, my sisters, brothers, cousins, aunties, friends, is all right. And unapologetically so. That was not in my script. What is in my script is to tell you to do not quit. Keep striving. There's a word that became very popular during the pandemic, and it's called pivot. It's your ability to do this at all times. It is the ability to balance and keep moving. Many of you may have played ball, I may have. In order to not travel, you've got to learn how to pivot. Don't stop, don't quit. You may have to indulge in self-care, whatever you need to do, but keep moving. Keep moving.
We're back. Hopefully you got a chance to see what I fell in love with, and that's the way that Beverly rocks the mic.
I feel like that should be LL Cool J. Rock the bells. Thank you, baby. I appreciate your pride in me and my work, and also glorifying my husband and representing my husband well is also an incentive for me to work hard, to give my best on a day-to-day basis. It's not just for people in my past or for my parents or for their legacy. It's for the name that we carry, Redmond, everywhere we go, that I want to make room not only and be a good representative of him, but for my children. That name will open doors for them as well. I also want to be a living daily walk, a living epistle, as we say, for them, so that they know that this thing that we do every day, the house that they have, sometimes the money that we lay in their hands or send to them through Zelle or PayPal, a lot of hard work goes into bringing that.
So we're going to end this episode. Join us on this station, OCPITV.com, 5:30, wherever you are, East Coast, West Coast, Central, Mountain. My wife's a little bit slow on the gun today. So please join us. And we're going to leave with our catchphrase. It's not her way.
It's not his way.
It's the Redmond way.